Hello. Hi there. My name is Duwakinde. Everyone calls me ID. So today, let's continue the series and let's discuss the next topic in the roster, segmentation, customer segmentation. One of my favorite topics to discuss because you find that almost every challenge that a startup founder experiences or encounters later on the journey of building their startup can be traced to some kind of problem with the resolution, with the degree of, with the quality of customer segmentation that was done in the earlier stages. So sometimes people are far down the line, really, really, really far down the line. They started making money. They invested huge sorts of money in building a product, releasing it, setting up distribution channels, investing in a lot of stuff, right? And then they start to learn the lessons that this knotty issue that we're having to go over and over and over and over and over again actually takes its root from a faulty opinion or a faulty definition of the customer persona right from the very beginning. Sometimes this is 2 years, of time gone down the drain. Sometimes this is, well, not gone down the drain, but at least, of time has passed. Sometimes this is 2, 3, sometimes 5 years down the line, and they're like, but what will it cost for you? What does it mean to you? Of what value is it to you if you can have access to a framework, a way of thinking that helps you optimize the way you build, the way you design the way you approach your markets, when building digital products, which is why we're here today. So without much further ado, let's use some visual aids to demonstrate what we're talking about, and let's get the conversation started. All right. So I'm sure you can see my screen. Market segmentation, customer segmentation. Very, very interesting topic. I have this question that I ask almost all the time, and in the live sessions, live group sessions, webinars, coaching sessions, especially the ones that are in which the audience is more than one, right? So it's not a private session. I find that people still fall for the age-old trap of thinking that everybody is a customer. So I have this question, almost the oldest question in the marketing playbook, right? That I always ask, and I say, hey, you've just been appointed. Let's just assume that this is a bottle of Eva water, some kind of bottle. Just imagine with me. I don't have any bottled water brand on my desk right now. But let's just imagine that this is a bottled water brand, say Eva water or Nestle water, some, right? Represented on the screen. And you, listening to me, have just been appointed as the managing director of that particular brand in Nigeria, a country of 200 million people. And then I ask you a question, who is your customer? At this point in time, you have two choices. You could go one of two ways. You could do what I find very, very interesting and say, come on, everybody in Nigeria drinks water. What's the population of Nigeria? 200 million people. My customer is 200 million, is every one of those 200 million people. Okay, fair enough. At least there's an attempt, right? Option A, okay, everyone is your customer. Option B, you could have some way of slicing the market, okay? Breaking up the market into distinct segments. And that's exactly what market segmentation is. And the thinking is that whenever you have a market, right, that contains a wide variety of personas, right? We'll come back to the definition of the word persona in the next video. But just for now, when you have a market that contains a variety of, what I call it, personalities, okay? Personas, personalities, right? Or a variety of archetypes, okay? I'm trying to use big words, customer archetypes. Then the wise thing to do is to optimize. The wise thing to do is to think about how to sell to each of those personas individually as if they were the only customer you have. And by the time you then aggregate those individual sales and marketing efforts, the wisdom is that you would make more net than if you tried to sell to a huge swath of X million people, in this case, 200 million people in the Nigerian bottled water market, just for discussion purposes. What does this mean, really? I try to capture this in some visual way, that can help us really, really understand what the concept I'm trying to share here, concept I'm trying to convey here. If you think about it, right, bottled water, good old bottled water, has, like, that person that responded and said all 200 million people in Nigeria are his or her customer, technically speaking, is not wrong, right? Because everybody must drink water, right? And even if they won't buy it themselves, they may be at a function, a party, an event, a concert where someone else has paid for the water, and they're drinking it. So technically speaking, yes, there's some sense in it. The challenge is that it is not an optimal way. It's not that it doesn't make sense. It's just not an optimal way of thinking about, thinking about optimally delivering value to that 200 million people cluster, as it were. You will deliver more value and you will also extract more value from that 200 million cluster, okay? If you sell and market to each of these component personas in that 200 million cluster in an individual way than if you sent out generic messaging. So let's start from the right. On the right, I have the option A, okay, which is, like I said, if you think about it, what is the target age? Like I said, 200 million people, there's no target age, right? What's the target volume? Standard volume bottled water in Nigeria is 75 cl, 750 ml. And segment size, okay, is all the segments, okay, just assuming that we haven't broken anybody down. So we have all 200 million residents, citizens and residents of Nigeria in there. So this is a one-size-fits-all approach. If you resume as the MD of, just for discussion purposes, Boolean water, right, tomorrow morning, and you try to sell Boolean water to 200 million people, what you will be doing is that you will be dissipating a lot of effort. You will be, a funny quote comes to mind, you will be for everybody and you'll be for nobody. Essentially what I mean by that is you will craft marketing messages, craft marketing graphics, with logos and colors and fonts, font types that convey certain emotions. that in the bid to make that message, the marketing message, right, the tone of message, the clarity of the message, in a bid to make that message appealing to 200 million people, don't be surprised if you find out that it doesn't appeal to anybody, because it is not specific enough or individualized enough or customized enough to draw a response, a strong response from any of the component personas. So let's just take an exercise and think about what an example of this type of personification or segmentation rather, this exercise looks like. So let's leave that example on the right and let's go to the left side. So I have 3 segments here. I've done some kind of just a rough segmentation, just a rough breakdown of segmentation of the 200 million population that we described earlier here. So on the left side, I have an age-wise distribution, an age-wise categorization, age-wise breakdown, age-wise segmentation of 200 million population. So I have ages 0 to 9, and I went to Wikipedia, this article here, to search, to get some data from there. And from the latest 2016, from latest census, the population, the segment of the population, of the Nigerian population that is 0 to 9 years old is 60 million out of 200 million. I think it's about 30% thereabout. Okay. This one's about 27%, which, which comes to 45 million, 10 to 19, ages 10 to 19. And the 20 to 99, or 20 to 500 years old, really up to 500, is 95 million, right? So the thinking here is that if you force yourself to, when you pick one segment, let's say we pick the 0 to 9 segment, at the moment when you pick that segment, you force yourself to forget about every other segment that exists. I don't want to name any specific bank, but there's a particular bank in Nigeria that got this tactic perfectly. In fact, their tagline is one customer, something like that, and this is no endorsement, but essentially they have this idea, they express this idea in their marketing. So when you pick 0 to 9, as the first segment to focus on and define and think and work on, you forget about every other segment just for the moment, temporarily, and hone in on that segment and ask yourself, if I were to sell to this segment, how do the people in this segment respond in a buying? What makes them positively respond to buying signals? What makes them positively respond to pitches, or sales calls, right? And you ask yourself that the people in 0 to 9, if you really want to catch those children, okay, people in 0 to 9, please just go and look for a cartoon character. I mean, we all know that, right? Ben 10, PJ Masks, Minions, Peppa Pig, right? Just find those cartoon characters and make sure that your label contains them, right? So maybe what you would do if you were MD of Boolean Water, if you resume tomorrow, an idea for you could be to create a small, if you look at the volume there, we have 33 CL on that bottle, right? There's no child 0 to 9 that really will drink more than 33 CL at a go, right? Even if they will, maybe they can drink multiple bottles, but at least it's a small enough volume for their age. So design that bottle small, right? Like that, different from the 75 CL that you're going to define for the adults later on. Customize the messaging. And when I talk about messaging, there's something very, very important that I always like to highlight. The tone of messaging is very important. So the kind of the tone of the messaging that appears on the label for 0 to 9 for the same Boolean water, and remember that it's the same liquid content inside, it's the same water inside. You don't need to, well, maybe if you think that the taste of the water could be a selling factor, then maybe you could add some flavor, right? Pineapple flavor, watermelon flavor, apple flavor, orange flavor, whatever that is, right? who knows, maybe fizzy water type of stuff, right? But the point is, there are certain product decisions, and this is where the winners are separated from, the rest of the pack. There are certain product decisions that only become obvious to you when you think specifically about helping a purchaser, a customer that falls into one of your specific segments, overcome their natural hesitations to buy from you. Okay, so if you think about it, right, yes, no 0 to 9 child will have money to buy from you, but they have the power to frustrate their parents. They have the power to cry and cry and cry and nag and nag and nag on their parents until their parents make the purchase. So by all means, please pay attention to them and, empower them to nag and cry on their parents. So that's that. So you will find that there are certain product attributes and product decisions that you're able to take for the market segmentation, for the market segment of 0 to 9, market segment 1, if you just use that, of 0 to 9. And then if you move to the other one, you can find a similar thing. Maybe this time around, it's, let me see what cartoon character is suitable for 10 to 19. I think I have the Encanto. You could have Samurai Jack. Maybe you could have, I think Ben 10 might be there, so it just looks like a teenager. And so on and so forth, right? So that's again, the volume has increased. This time it's 50 CL. And then you have the third segment, which is the generic adult segment. Anybody who's 20 or 21 and above, pretty much 75 CL is good for you. You need to maintain a certain minimum amount of water for your body weight, for your body mass, and so on and so forth. So you see that there is this optimization of product decisions for each specific segment, and this is really all of the message that I have to share in this particular episode. So, in a nutshell, to summarize again, there are specific benefits, there are specific product development, product management, product decisions. There are specific benefits that will accrue to you and to your product when you're building your startup, when you specifically slice whatever market you have into distinct segments, right? Segments based on personas, and then do all you can to satisfy each of those personas to the highest, right? So offer an irresistible value proposition, make an irresistible offer to each of those segments in such a way that none of them can refuse you. None of them can refuse the offer you're making to them. That specified approach, when brought together on the aggregate, has been proven, business after business, industry after industry, to be more effective at generating revenue than trying to sell a bland one-size-fits-all label, messaging, color scheme, typography, brand essence to all the segments in a particular market. In this case, all 200 million people in the Nigerian water drinking market. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's it for this episode. Thank you as I always say, thank you for tolerating my hallucinations. All right, catch you on the next one. Bye.